Hey, this is the old gaming geezer, and welcome along to another episode of A Wing and a Prayer, where I'm attempting to do Kerbal Space Program, only taking off from the runway. At the moment, I have very little science, but let me show you what I've got unlocked so far. I have got unlocked up until as far as here. Now, I need, before I can get into space, I need to get supersonic flight, is it? Which one is it? Oh no, it's high altitude flight. And that's 300 science points I need. So I need to get 90, 106. I need to get about 500 science points before I can even get up to there. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to be able to do that. Until then, I'm going to try and gather some science around Kerbal right now. And to do that, I will fly my... We are going to fly this, the Sciencey Plane Mark II. And we're going to go fly north. We're going to try and find as much science as we can on the way, so let us launch. Oh yes, Sciencey Plane Mark II. Let's turn on SAS. Because we have Jebediah on the controls tonight. We have upgraded our runway here because we kind of thought it was a little bit silly that we had... Whoa! Okay. The Sciencey Plane Mark II is... Oh, that took off a hell of a lot quicker than I thought. Okay. Yeah, so we thought it was a bit weird that we had this perfectly flat ground and a really bumpy runway to take off from. So we upgraded our runway because, you know, this is what we need to do. I probably didn't need to upgrade our runway at this point. You know what I didn't do? I did not set up my plane. So these are going to be pitch only. These are going to be roll only, and this is going to be yaw only. Okay. Well, this plane is not flying very well. Uh-oh. I think that we may have to return to base because this plane, something is seriously wrong with this plane. So I'm going to throttle back. And I'm going to bring it around and land it again. Because this is not as good as our Sciencey 1 plane. I'm going to be quite honest with you. Our Sciencey 1 plane was much better than this. Let's watch as soon as I... It pitches... Oh, so fast! Oh dear. This thing pitches way too fast and we are falling fast. Come on, get up. Okay. Okay. This is not a good plane. We're going to have to be really careful in bringing it home. So we're slowing down now here. We're going to get Jebediah home safely. Luckily we've got Jebediah at the controls. If we had anybody else at the controls, things would be much, much different. So we're trying to drop us down slow enough. I got to keep an eye on our shadow, which I cannot see at this time. I want to get down. There it is. So I'm going to start flaring very, very soon. Start flaring now. No, too much. Okay, we're down safely. Down safely. Okay, this mission was a complete disaster from the get-go. We get Jebediah out, we get Jebediah home. Can we do any science from here while we're here? Yes, we can. Kerbal Shores. Keep that data. Let's open this. We've got some mystery goo. Can we get mystery goo from Kerbal Shores? A little bit. We're going to take it. Let's get Jebediah out. We'll get to an EVA report. Now, we cannot do an EVA report flying over Kerbal Shores, but maybe from standing on Kerbal Shores. No, we can't. Okay, so grab, board, and who knows, maybe a crew report. Oh, we could get a crew report, so excellent. So at least, you know, we got a few science from this mission, so that's good, Could have been worse. We could have lost Jeb. Okay, so we've done some minor changes to this plane. We have changed out the rudders, the tail planes here. We get the rudder. We've set up our control surfaces the way we need them, and we've adjusted our center of mass back a little bit, forward a little bit more. Sorry, center of lift back a little bit more because it was right on the center of mass, so hopefully this will fly a little bit better. Let's find out. Let's throttle up. Let's launch. Here we go. It's just a science gathering mission. Got a few potholes on the runway here. I'll have to get the lads out to take a look. Okay, let's take off. I said let's take off. I said let's take off. Why aren't we taking off? There we go. Okay. Maybe I should have put my wheels forward a bit. Okay, so we're going to turn... This fly is actually much better. But I'll have to adjust the wheels, the two rear wheels, bring them forward a little bit because they were too far back from the center of mass. So I couldn't lift up the front of the airplane. Of course, I could have put some Cunards on the front, but... Cunards? Can't remember. I don't know how to pronounce these things. Okay, let's throttle back. We're getting a little bit of aerial stuff. I don't know what that's called. I wonder... Maybe I would be able to get into orbit with something like this. I don't know. We'll have to find out. But we're going to go gather a little bit of science for now, so we're going to rise up, gather science, and head north. So, looking at the amount of thrust this J33 wheelsy basic jet engine gives me, I am currently at an altitude of 6.5 kilometers, and my thrust as I rise up is actually dropping. I'm currently traveling at a speed of 286.8 meters per second. But the higher I go, the lower my thrust gets. You can see it's dropping down there. I do have two air intakes on this, but that's not really... That's just giving me a little bit more air. I really don't think that I'm going to be able to use this engine to get into orbit. I'm going to attempt it. I'm not going to attempt it now, but I'm going to attempt it. But that's where we are at the moment. Okay, so now we are over Kerbal Highlands, so we're going to do a crew report, and we can transmit the data from here. Excellent. We're going to try and land somewhere. So we're going to slow right down, and we're going to come into land, probably in that little valley right there. That's my plan. Hopefully this is still the Highlands. If it's not, we may have to figure something else out. Okay, we're pretty low to the ground, even though I can't see our shadow yet. Let me pull that so I can see our shadow. Coming down, okay. Flaring. Oh, flared a bit too much. Okay, braking. Brakes on. Gonna observe materials bay. Okay, we've already got this data. What about a mystery goo? Let's open this and see, do we have a mystery goo? We already have both of this data, so I'm resetting those and we're moving on. Okay. Okay, let's go. We're moving on. Brakes off. Let's go. Hold on a sec. Sorry, before we go, I'm going to get Jebediah to EVA and see if we get a crew report, an EVA report from right here. EVA, we can get a little bit. We'll keep that data. We'll put it inside. Store experiment. Now I'm just going to climb up right now. We're standing on top of the plane, so this means we're now standing. And here we go. We got an EVA report here. So we grab that, and we get back in. We're board, and I'm going to review that data, and I'm going to transmit if I can. Yes, I can. Now we're going to take off again. Transmit that data too. Okay, we've got Kerbal Mountains, a crew report, so I'm going to transmit that. And I'm going to think now, shall we land somewhere in the mountains? Now the question is, where in the mountains can we land? Let's have a look-see over here. Okay, quick test. We're over the mountains. Okay, we're trying and land in this valley here. Right. I have to be careful. I have to land really carefully because my wheels are gone. They're damaged. They're badly damaged. Right, I need to get ready to start. Oh, I need to start rising up. There we go. Okay. Flare. And we're down. Oh! Oh! Oh dear. That's what I call a braking maneuver, right? Okay, that's a successful braking maneuver. Let's observe the materials bay. We'll keep that data. Let's observe the second one just in case. We're going to keep as much of this data as we can. We're going to do the same with the goo, because we're not taking off again. We've damaged our plane. We're not taking off again. So, mystery goo. Keep data. I'm going to keep both sides of it. Try and maximize my science at this point, because I really need to start maximizing my science. Crew report. Keep that data. Jeb, you need to get out. Now, this is probably going to be flying over the mountains. Yes, it is. We'll keep that data. Right, just climb up there. Oh, dear, 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 dear. Grab, grab. Grab, okay. Oh, no, 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 no. EVA report. Oh, dear. Hold on a sec. We need to store experiments first. Okay. EVA report. Keep the data. Okay, now we need to get Jeb back into the plane. If we can do so. Board. Excellent. Okay, at this point I am going to recover this vessel because I really don't want to take any more chances with it, because we damaged our wheels landing. We probably have got everything slightly damaged. I don't know. There's no way to tell how damaged it is at this point. We have used very little of our fuel, which is nice. So we probably could have done this with a lot less fuel, but that's okay. We're out. We're going to recover the vessel. We're going to go back and see what we've got. And so back in the Space Center, we got 22.3 science points for that mission, which brings us to a mass total of 47 science, which is not great, but it's okay. So that's all the experiments we got. Not a hell of a lot, but we're okay. And so after that, I decided I was going to try to fly out over the mountains towards the desert and pick up some science that way. So I built this plane. This is the sciencey plane, and off we're going now. Do this lovely outside loop there, spin around, and we're going to go fly over the mountains, as you can see there. And we're going to bring ourselves down and land at the closest desert, which is just on the other side of the mountains, on the other side of the continent from the KSC right there. So we bring it down and we land quite safely. And everything's looking good until the plane starts to wobble. As you can see there, I lost one of my wings, which meant that, well, it wasn't detrimental to the mission because we got our crew report and our materials bay, which we save all that, and our goo, which is in the experiment bay in the back of the plane there. And then we went straight back to the KSC and began doing the next part of our mission, which is to farm the KSC itself for science. Now, at this point, I started using a mod called Science Alert, which doesn't actually do anything. It just tells you, as you saw there, when you're in an area you haven't got science for, you haven't already done the science experiments for. So I started going all the way around the KSC in this crazy-looking jet-propelled truck that I built, and I've got 4 materials bays, and I think there's something like 6 goo containers, and I got quite a lot of science from doing this, and I went over to all the different areas of the KSC to get these, and I do recommend trying this Science Alert one. And as you can see, I got quite a lot of science out of it. I got about 60 science points, bringing my total up to about 90, and so I unlocked landing because I needed better landing gear, basically. And the landing gear I needed, well, I needed for this. This is my first attempt. Well, actually, this is about my 10th attempt, but this is my first successful attempt to go suborbital. Now, as you can see, this is basically a rocket with jet engines and wings attached to the side. As you can see, I had my my control surfaces set up wrong, but I managed to get it up off the ground, and I took off pretty fast. And immediately, the first thing I did, as soon as I was pointing straight up, I dumped the wings and dumped the engines. As you'll see, there they go, and I ignited my rocket and I went straight up. Now, I didn't really know if this would work. As you can see, I left my landing gear open there, but I remembered to close it finally. So we're heading up now, we're rising fast, and I need to get Jeb out of the atmosphere on a suborbital flight, because this is the contract that I'm stuck at. I cannot leave the atmosphere. So there, I've got my periapsis high up above the atmosphere. It's about 85 kilometers. I can't actually read it in the preview window here, but we're rising and I'm really happy. So I'm checking the science alert, and I decided to do all my science here because I'm going to be flying again, and I'm going to do my high altitude science now. There's me doing the mystery goo in the end there, and taking Jebediah up. So there we are. I'm in space. I fulfill my contract, and this is where I make the mistake. I tried to go EVA, not realizing that I couldn't EVA without upgrading the astronaut complex, so I cannot save those experiments. So we're going to have to do this flight again, although I was planning on doing the flight again at some point. Definitely planning on doing the flight again to get the actual space science. So now, this is a test flight because I don't know if this airplane cockpit, I can't remember which one, is it a Mark II or is it the Mark I cockpit? I don't know if the Mark I cockpit will actually survive. There's me looking at the contracts that I got. Excellent, very happy with that. So I don't actually know will this survive re-entry. So, and here we are, we're about to hit the... we're about to get the heating effects coming on now, and I'm starting to get worried because I don't know what's going to happen here. I really don't. And so we're down at 19 kilometers and falling very, very fast, but we're slowing down also very, very fast. And there we go. The flames are fading, and now we've just got the Mach effects, and we're still slowing down. At this point, I know we're going to be safe. Jebediah is going to get home safe and sound. Somebody's got to work out a better way to launch rockets. I mean... actually, you know what? You know, putting wings on the sides of rockets and then taking them off from the runway, that's the best way to do it. There is no other way to launch spacecraft, right? You couldn't go straight up or anything like that. It'd be just stupid. And so, we've got to go up again and do our science and bring it back this time. And this time we're going to go into space and do our science in space. We'll get the high altitude science later. And this time, you know, Jeb's been hogging most of the flights up so far. So this time we're taking Valentina Kerman, the joint best pilot in the Kerbal Space Program. Now, Valentina's doing this a little differently because that's the way she rolls. She's not the same as Jeb. She's trying to get a little higher before she activates her rocket engine, and she angles the plane up, throttles down, and then activates the rocket engine before dumping the jet engines. And she found that this gave her a little bit more control of how the plane works. That's because, Valentina probably spent a lot more time in the simulator figuring out how to fly the plane properly, whereas Jebediah is more kind of a, hey, that's a plane, let's go, let's fly it. Can it fly? Who knows? Let's go anyway. So Valentina gets into a suborbital trajectory. She gets out into space. She's above 70 kilometers, and she's doing her mystery goo and the materials bay. We also unlocked a thermometer, so we're doing thermometer science as well. Taking temperature logs in space. We're going to have to go back and do a lot of temperature logs around the KSC, but we're going to get a lot of science out of this mission. But we need to take the science back. So Valentina Kerman becomes the first Kerbal to do an EVA. She gets out of her vehicle and she goes to the science bay, the materials bay, and the goo container and the thermometer, and she collects all of the data that she needs to bring back to the boys in the lab. So there's Valentina. Now she gets back into her ship. Well, she stores the stuff. She's doing a little bit of cataloging before she gets back into the ship, but she's going to have to get back into the ship, and she's going to have to come back down. Oh, she comes back down through the atmosphere. Everything is pretty safe. We know this works because obviously Jeb tested it first because, well, if there's somebody going to be... if the plane is going to explode, you want to get Jeb to try it out first. So Valentina Kerman comes down and safely lands in the ocean. She's still coming down, and she's still safely landing in the ocean. She's coming down. Slower, slowly, 20 meters, 10 meters, and splash! She's down. Valentina Kerman is home and safe. And so, as I decide what sort of science I'm going to unlock this time, we'll have to find out what that's going to be in the next episode. This is the Old Gaming Geezer signing off. Good night, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, adieu.